morning, good afternoon, and good evening, EXP family. Welcome to Level Up. My name is Alyssa Specht. I'm with EXP University. I'm going to be your host today. I'm so pumped to be here with you. As always, I want to take a moment to give us all a little bit of orientation. So if this is your very first time here, welcome. Welcome to Level Up. We are bringing you training that's going to help you level up your life, level up your business. So let's get into it, guys. We are streaming all over the place right now. We are live on YouTube right now. We are live on Workplace, and we are live in EXP World. So no matter where you're watching, though, I want to ask you to do something right now. I want to ask you to go to EXP Realty's YouTube channel. If you're already there, perfect. Go ahead and follow, and then make sure that you like this video. And one more thing. I'm going to tell you about what's coming up next in this session today. And I want you to think about who needs this? Who needs this? Who in your life needs this right now? So let me tell you what we've got going on. All right. So today, we are going to be bringing you 3 sessions, and we're going to be, we've got the goods today. I promise you. So today we're going to kick it off, and we're going to be talking with Lisa Coleman and Tim Flores. And this is going to be the 4th part of a 4-part series about ChatGPT. And today we're going to get a little more advanced, and they're going to knock your socks off with what you could do with ChatGPT. So that's what we're kicking off with today. Then after that, we are talking about Realtor Safety with the amazing Scott Deputy. It's going to be a great session. I know it. And then after that, we are going to kick it over to JJ Johannes, who's going to teach you how you can get started with video today. All right. So the question, who in your life needs that? Think about it. Click that, copy the link right from YouTube, send it over. Let's elevate this community together. All right, my friends, without any further ado, we're going to kick it over for talking about the advanced ChatGPT with Tim Flores and Lisa Coleman.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us back here again on part 4 of ChatGPT and how you can use it in real estate. My name's Lisa Coleman, EXP agent from Raleigh, North Carolina, and Tim Flores is here with me today from Madison, Wisconsin. Hey, Tim. Real quick recapping, and I'm sure you've watched the previous videos, but, what we have gone over to this point are some pretty, simple and standard things in ChatGPT, what you can use it for: writing your bio, marketing remarks for websites, MLS, things like that, drafting emails, responses to other agents, buyer inquiries, seller inquiries, things like that. Today, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to not too deep, though, not too advanced, but we are going to show you how ChatGPT can facilitate personalized client interaction based on your conversations with them and their preferences. So we're going to talk about introducing them to the area. We've all gotten those emails that say, hey, I'm thinking about buying in Raleigh, or I'm thinking about buying in Madison or Nashville, but I want an area that's this, this, and this. Can you tell me about all the different suburbs and what, a little bit more about them? And so we're going to go over that. And then also post open house catch-ups. When you have an open house and then you want to follow up with these people, sometimes we don't quite know what to say. You just don't want to say, hey, thanks for stopping by the open house. So you want to go a little bit deeper, kind of a little bit more personalized, and go from there. So to do this, Tim's going to take it away and kind of lead this discussion today.
All righty. So first thing we're going to demonstrate, as Lisa said, is helping a client who's relocating maybe from out of state familiarize themselves with the neighborhood. So this is a real world example, one that, and you should be able to see the screen now. Can you see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple relocating from the great state of Indiana. They're moving here to Madison, Wisconsin, and they're not super familiar with the area. They're moving here for family, and so they just asked me for a quick synopsis of the area and some of the surrounding municipalities. So I asked ChatGPT, hi there, I'm a realtor from Madison, Wisconsin. Remember, context is important. You got to tell ChatGPT who you are, so it can give you an answer within context. Helping clients relocate from Indiana. They'd like a summary of all the adjacent municipalities to Madison and a little bit about what makes them unique and potentially appealing from a livability standpoint. So let's see what ChatGPT gives us. Now, I know the vast majority of you watching won't have the context for this, but so far, this is fantastic. It is listing off some of the immediate suburbs to Madison and some of the places where people might want to consider living. And again, this is just a little snapshot. I didn't ask ChatGPT to provide a bunch of details, just a little summary, but everything here is fantastic. And you got to keep in mind, when you have clients relocating from out of state, they really don't know the area, right? And so oftentimes providing a little summary can help them get started and explore where they might want to be living. Now, here's a good one. We've got a list of suburbs, but none of these are in context. Okay, so let's say Mr. Buyer is moving here to work at Epic Systems. We can also ask ChatGPT to provide mileage from the headquarters of Epic Systems. And there you go. Now he's moving to the area for a specific company. It'd be good for him to know about how long it would take him to drive from any one of these suburbs and municipalities. Again, this just helps break things down. You can ask it for locations from the city center, locations from a specific university, or any other landmark. Now, it's always important to verify the information, but this gives you a summary to get started while you're communicating with your client.
Absolutely. And all of us had that phone call, from a client or a referral from another agent in the company. And they said, hey, they're moving there. Like they're moving here. They might be moving here to work at Apple, or something like that. If you don't know, maybe they just said, I just want to be within 30 minutes of Apple or like 30 minutes of Epic. You can put that in and say, show me municipalities within a 30-minute drive of Apple's headquarters. And you have to say where it is. Don't say Apple or they're going to get you in Seattle, or something like that, or Texas. I think they're in Texas too. You have to be specific, but that's a way to educate yourself. So when they ask, you can say, oh, yes, by the way, you could live here, 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 and here, and then start dwindling it down from there as far as the neighborhoods within that particular municipality and things like that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's say for a moment they decided they really want to be in Madison, Wisconsin. Well, we can ask a follow-up question. Can you summarize some of the neighborhoods in Madison for someone moving from out of state? And watch this. Again, most of you won't have context for this, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. But this is a great summary. It is highlighting the downtown. It's highlighting various neighborhoods in Madison. It's giving some highlights as to why one might want to live in one of those neighborhoods. Number 3 was my neighborhood as a kid, so I know it very well. And you can do that for nearly any municipality in the United States. And ChatGPT will provide you with a summary of the pros and cons and some of the highlights of each location.
So, this is a way not only to educate your clients, but educate yourself. But I mean, think about if you copied this, you got an email and you said, hey, and said, hey, can you tell me, you're having a conversation. A lot of times we'll say things like, well, you can live here and it's this and that. You can live here, it's close to this. But if you did this and then, cleaned it up a little bit, cut and paste, put it in an email, added your own verbiage, to it, have it, sound like you a little bit more. There you go. I mean, they're probably not going to call another agent. They're going to call you because you're the expert. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And you'll save your clients a ton of time from Googling and reading articles and what have you. And yeah, I mean, because again, as realtors, we're often neighborhood and city brand ambassadors, right? They're coming to us for the recommendations, everything from schools to parks to amenities to restaurants to you name it, right? So should we move on to post open house, interactions?
Absolutely. So let's say, Tim, I did an open house on Saturday and I had 4 people come through. The first person that came through was a neighbor. And they're not interested in buying this house, but I'd like to thank them for coming and like to remind them that I am an agent in case they know of anyone who's looking in the neighborhood. or maybe selling their house. I don't want this to be I don't want to send them something pushy because they've already said, I was a nosy neighbor. I just want to see this house. But I do kind of want to, thank them, but not in just a, hey, thanks for coming by my open house kind of way. Kind of want to leave it open that if they have any questions or know of anyone, look at me as the resource. Can we do that? And he's thinking, so I think we can.
Yep. I'm typing as we speak.
No, that's okay. So, I mean, a lot of us, all we'll do is, we'll write a handwritten thank you note. We'll shoot them an email, and they all, and it probably sounds exactly the same as any other email they've gotten, because sometimes people go to 4 open houses over the weekend because they're out looking for, property. Here's how you can personalize it, touch base, and, maybe get a future client. So
Absolutely. And you can go deeper here too. If the open house attendees shared some other details with you, such as maybe they had a few kids, or maybe they were thinking about a move in 6 months, 8 months from now, or maybe they have a cousin who's thinking about relocating to the area, you can add those details into the prompt, and ChatGPT will again customize its reply based on the information you've given it.
Absolutely. And you can also, ask it to, let's say that I mentioned to you, if you want to go deeper, and this may be going way too deep, but let's say I'm a customer and I came in and I said, hey, I like this house, are there any, soccer teams or soccer fields nearby? My kids love to play soccer. My kids love to play baseball. They're swimmers. Do they have this or that? You can put all that information in, as well as, a street address. Ask ChatGPT, and it can point out all the things that are nearby. You include that in there, and that way they've known that you've listened to them and you're providing information that's relevant to them. Instead of just saying, thanks for stopping by, I'm a great agent, you need to use me when you go to buy a house. So
right, try to find ways to add value, add a little bit of creativity, add a little bit of spice to your communications. ChatGPT is phenomenal at that. So Lisa, why don't you give me an address of a recent open house you ran, or just any address in Raleigh, and I'll see if I can get ChatGPT to further personalize this for the specific home.
Absolutely. The property we had an open house at this weekend was 2110 Terramar, Taramar Lane, and that is in Zebulon, Zebulon.
Zebelun.
Zebulon. And North Carolina. And, let's say that I am looking, for a house that's close to a school. I have elementary school children. I'm looking for something where it has a nice little downtown, but not too big of a city, and are there any community, sports for kids around, preferably soccer and baseball. My kids love to play that, and I want to be within a few minutes of being able to go somewhere if I want to go, on a Friday or Saturday night, but I don't have to be, right in the middle of everything. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, let's see what we get. So first, I got the intro.
Oh, look, it's told me about the community park. It's listed a cafe. This is wonderful. This is
short drive from Raleigh.
Looks like I've put a ton of information or research into finding out something that fits exactly what they're looking for. And all I did was ask ChatGPT about it. So.
Absolutely.
Of course, now Hillbillies has closed. It did have decent hot dogs, but they closed down. I don't know why. So again, you got to remember, ChatGPT only pulls information from September 2021 and back. They're working on updating it right now. And Hillbillies, I know this personally, so make sure, don't just cut and paste and send it. Read it, make sure that the information is correct that's in there, because Hillbillies closed last year. So
yep, absolutely. Always
Mhm.
add a little bit of your own touch, and again, double check its work. Trust but
Mhm.
verify.
Trust and verify. So, um, and I think that's what we were going to cover today. With this, one thing we do want to stress, and we want to talk with y'all about quickly is, number one, always read what Chat GPT generates for you, because that is so important. Again, it's going to put out information that it gets prior to September of 2021. So, like Tim, I'm sure there are places it's listed before that have closed in Madison or changed
Yep.
names or things like that. You have to be aware of that. And then also, Tim and I had a discussion earlier this morning because we were looking at it for some other things about, making sure that it sounds like you, that it's not just spitting out stuff. Plagiarism's become a very big thing with ChatGPT, with people doing, and people are taking things from other websites, putting it in ChatGPT and saying rewrite it. And it's not really rewriting it. It is just kind of, moving the words around a little bit. And that's still, so be very careful. If you find something on somebody's website that talks about something and there's no harm in that, and you say, "Ooh, I'd like to pull information from here and there," just make sure that you do it the right way, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, you can utilize other people's work as a resource, and combine it with your own prompts to create unique and custom content. But again, do be wary of just blatant plagiarism, because that's not going to fly.
No.
And again, as we said earlier, and we can't stress this enough, make sure that you're double checking all the information, that it is factually accurate. ChatGPT not only can it make purely informational mistakes, but it can also make some mathematical mistakes. So if you're using ChatGPT as a mortgage calculator, again, just check yourself, make sure the numbers make sense, and make sure that the formulas work for you. But this is a fantastic tool. It's only getting better. As Lisa said, the ChatGPT's informational database is only up to date as of September 2021, but that is going to change. ChatGPT now has access to the internet. It can browse links. It can access search engines, and there's new plugins coming out every day. Zillow has a plugin that was released recently. It's
Mhm.
not very good, but they're going to make improvements to it. And I think it's safe to say that all the every real estate brokerage, every real estate company is going to be using ChatGPT in some way, shape, or form. And so what we're trying to get, or what we're trying to do in this class, is to show how you as a realtor can use it in your day-to-day work. But believe me when I say this, it's going to change the world. So the sooner you start adopting it, start playing around with it, start utilizing it, the better. I've mentioned this in past classes. You can follow me on Instagram at Tim Flores Homes. You can also follow Lisa.
At Midtown Realtor. And then also, we are going to put below, Tim and I are going to do an in-depth class. It's going to be across a 3-day period, a couple hours each day. Whereas, we work with people in the class one-on-one. It's really hands-on. So it's going to be an in-depth class. We can say, here you say, "Hey, if I do this, what happens?" Or I do that, and we can answer you in real time. It's a Zoom class. So check that out. Keep in mind for that. We'd love to have you join us for that and just help you build your business. We're here to help everybody. We want everybody to use this and, build their real estate business, because this is the next step.
This
Pretty
is the
much.
next step in creating a fantastic experience for your clients,
Mm-hmm.
streamlining your workload, and increasing just your day-to-day efficiencies.
Absolutely. So thank y'all for joining us on this 4-part series.
Four-part series, yeah.
4-part series. There we go. We get it. And we look forward to helping y'all in the future.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Folks, put your hands together for Tim Flores, Lisa Coleman. Their whole Chat GPT series has been absolutely informative, intriguing, and I'm such a fan. Let us know, because I would love to have Tim and Lisa back in the studio. What do you want to hear from them next? So put that in the comments right now. What are you looking to learn about AI, Chat GPT? Let us know in the comments right now. Okay, so we're going to keep on rolling. Like, we are on fire today. And next up, we're going to bring you a session that I think is rather empowering and really informative. And we're talking about realtor safety and self-defense. And so I'm let's just get into it, guys. I'm so pleased to introduce you to the amazing Scott Deputy. Take it away, Scott.
All right. Hello, EXP family. I am so excited to share with you today something that I'm extremely passionate about. Realtor safety is such an important topic. So my name is Scott Deputy. A little bit about me is I've been a licensed realtor for 27 years now, just had an anniversary this month. 27 years in the wild world of real estate on the residential side. I've also been a practicing martial artist since about 2006 and been a qualified black belt instructor since 2013. And around the time that I started instructing in martial arts, I was approached by my local board of realtors to do some lunch and learn offerings around safety and self-defense. And not long after that, they asked me then to see if I would create a continuing education class because the content was so well received and they felt that there was a big need in our industry for more education around realtor safety. So in 2016, I created the first of its kind course around realtor safety and self-defense. It was subsequently approved in 3 states, my home state of Delaware, bordering states of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, approved by the real estate commissions in those states for 3.5 hours of continuing education credits for license renewal as an elective class. So I've been delivering that content ever since, and I'm so excited to be here today to share with the broader EXP family. It's such an honor to be asked to visit here today and share with you. So I appreciate you spending a little bit of time, and hopefully I can bring some value and help you understand some ideas, some proactive business tips and practices for your business to help keep you safe in this unique world of real estate that we try to make our living in. So let's get to it. I have a handful of tips that I want to share today. The first of which is, and probably the most important, is to have an intake process with every prospective client that you meet, whether it's a buyer side or a listing side. Have an intake process. Don't be in such a rush to go meet a strange person at a strange place. Generally speaking, it's not a great idea. And so we need to slow down the process so that we can give ourselves a chance to ensure our safety and have a chance to vet, if you will, a little more closely the prospective customer or client that we're going to be meeting with. So what does that look like? So with a buyer client, the meeting could be in person, whether that's in an office environment, coffee shop, or even a digital meeting through Zoom or some other video platform. But you give yourself a chance to get face-to-face with this prospect before you go running out to open doors and go meet them at a strange place that you're not familiar with, and they have an upper hand if they're an ill-meaning citizen of the world. And during your intake process, of course, you're going to want to collect some of their contact information. Of course, that's a basic level. Maybe you're going to collect an ID, a photo ID, whether that's taking a picture using a smartphone on your camera, or having some process to collect identification as part of your information gathering, if you will. And I think that sometimes when I have this conversation, agents feel a little uncomfortable asking for this, and it really is just another script that you need to practice. And if you think about when the public engages any other profession or professional, whether it's a physician, attorney, CPA, what is the first thing that happens when you visit with one of those professionals? You are greeted by an intake form that you have to sit and complete. And it should be no different with real estate. We are professionals in the same class as those others that I mentioned. So have an intake process, collect that upfront information, collect the ID, and then also you can use that potentially as a way to actually really get to know your prospective client. I've heard it called all different things and all about you form. There's a lot of different versions of this that are available, but it can be fun as well as be part of your safety protocol. So all about you form, of course, you're going to be collecting not just their contact information, You're also going to be collecting more personal things, like what are their hobbies and interests? What are the kids' names? Do they have pets? Things like that. The fun stuff that hopefully is going to help you build rapport and build a client for life, presuming that this person that you're going to meet with is actually a well-meaning and ready, willing, and able prospect. Of course, the other piece of that is have your lender partner do some of this work with you as well, because if they're going through the process of a pre-qualification or pre-approval, your lender partner is going to be able to verify identity, verify this information as well. And so, of course, as a professional, we shouldn't be rushing out to open doors unless we know that the prospect already has that piece of paper, that document in hand. And if they don't, well, then that's going to be part of your intake process to move them to that pre-approval stage and let your lender partner do some of the heavy lifting before you take the next step to get out into the field. If it's a cash buyer, then similar standards apply, even though you don't have the benefit of a third party verifying the identification. Make sure that you're asking for proper proof of funds, whether that's a bank letter, proof of funds statement, and then you've got to investigate whatever is provided very closely, because another thing to put on your radar, of course, is that the fraudsters of the world are prefabricating documents that are not legitimate in an attempt to move forward in the process, and they don't have the funds, or they don't mean to go through the purchase in the first place. So you've got to investigate and evaluate those documents very carefully. But on the lender side, it's a little bit more straightforward because you have that third-party process that they're going to have to go through. On the seller side, it's the same thing, right? A lot of times we tend to think about these consultations from a buyer side only, but the seller side is a similar situation. You're still potentially going to meet a strange person in a strange place. And so what is the intake process on the seller side, where you're actually getting eyes on them, having a conversation or an interview, pre-listing interview with them before actually going out and visiting them at their home? And so that can be done, again, either as a visit to the office first, or through a video communication tool like Zoom, where again, you're getting eyes on the person, you're getting a little more verification of ownership. And of course, as part of your due diligence and preparation for your listing appointment, you're going to be checking public records, looking to make sure that the names match, and doing all the other things that we should be doing as potential listing agents, looking for other pieces of valuable information around permits or flood zone information, and all those things that a true professional should be doing as part of that research to serve a seller client. So that is tip number one: have an intake process every time with every person, and don't stray from that procedure, because that will give you a chance to vet further and to get a comfort level with your prospective client. One other piece on that is using technology as part of that verification process, right? We have so many great tools available now to verify people. And once you have collected some information, use the internet, whether that's a generic internet search through Google or some other search engine, or social media channels, right? Pretty much everyone in the world these days, not everyone, but most of us, have some sort of profile on social media. Search those channels and see if you can find that person, verify that the name and face matches, and then again, you can use some of that recon, if you will, to understand a little bit more about them and their interests, to help you build rapport in those meetings, and hopefully, again, building a client for life over time. The next piece, as we head into the field, so we've done our intake process, now we're heading into the field with either a buyer or a seller. One of the first things that we could talk about is just don't go alone. Find a partner, find a safety buddy, find a colleague to come with you on these appointments. And again, these decisions need to be a consistent protocol or practice. If you make this decision for yourself, you need to have that as a consistent business practice, so that you are operating ethically and do not have a fair housing issue, right? We can't discern We need to put a practice in place and use it every time with every person, right? But bring a partner, bring a safety buddy. If you don't have a colleague, maybe you're a veteran agent and you could bring a new agent, or maybe you're a new agent and you could bring a veteran agent. There are lots of different ways to find a partner. At the very least, you could have a friend or family member or colleague come with you for the ride in the car, even if they don't actually attend physically your appointment, but they'll be in proximity and be that extra set of eyes and ears for you as you go out into the field. Once you're in a property, if you're meeting a buyer client, be mindful of the surroundings there. Be careful of your distance and spacing. Don't turn your back on people, right? Let them enter rooms first. Also, as part of a business practice, you can proactively decide, am I going to the basement? Am I going to the attic? Do I show homes after dark? These are all decisions that you get to make proactively as a professional, and then communicate those and set expectations with your prospects proactively so that they know this is what to expect when they're working with you. But you need to decide those things ahead of time, proactively, not retroactively when you're in a moment where you start to feel uncomfortable or worse. So decide ahead of time. Do I go in basements with my clients? Do I go in attics with my clients? Do I show homes after dark? These are all individual business decisions that you are able to make, but it does require you to sit intentionally and articulate those for yourself. What are my ground rules? What are my rules of engagement as I go about my day-to-day in this business of real estate? All right. Once we talk about opening doors, that also brings up the issue of open houses, right? So open houses, a lot of us are still actively doing open houses. It's a great way to expose a property to the market, create a buzz, right? And then hopefully also develop some new business out of that. However, there are some very inherent risks with doing open houses. Generally speaking, we do all this marketing push. We put our names and faces out there and exactly where we're going to be for exactly how long. And we're advertising to the public at large that, hey, this is where I'm going to be, come see me, right? Which is great for business, but also you're broadcasting potentially to the evil doers of the world, and we just have to be cognizant of that. So with open houses, a couple tips. First and foremost, again, don't do your open houses alone. This is such an easy deterrent to put in place. Bring a partner, whether it's a lender partner, a colleague, a local colleague, or a friend or family member. Your open house partner does not have to be a licensed real estate agent. They can be eyes and ears. They could be in a different part of the home. They just can't engage in real estate discussion, obviously, but they can be still part of your safety team, if you will, when you're doing an open house. The other piece is you're also being more cognizant and mindful of your seller's personal property. As one person in an open house with a flood of people, it can be really hard to keep track of what's where and who's going where. And that's really a big problem, especially when these open houses are so well attended right now. So have a second or even third set of eyes and ears with you at all times whenever you do your open house. That said, if despite your best efforts, you're not able to find a partner to come with you for an entire open house, NAR statistics show that most open house assaults or attacks on realtors occur either at the very beginning or the very ending of the open house period. So at a very minimum, if you cannot have a partner with you for your entire duration, please make sure that you have a partner with you as you get started or as you close up, right? These are the times when opportunistic criminals will try to take advantage of an agent who's closing up or just opening, and they know that you're by yourself. Okay. A couple other thoughts around open houses. One, understand all your entrance and exits, and do you leave them all wide open, or do you control the flow in and out of those entryways? Not advocating either way, just encouraging you to think about that proactively so that you know how you're going to handle that and why, right? Notice your environment and the terrain. If the house is occupied, maybe you'll want to take note of some useful household items that you could use to protect yourself in the event that you need to. Hopefully that would never be the case. And hopefully with some of these other practices, you're going to deter that from ever even being a possibility. But in case, you might notice where the umbrellas are, or if there's a field hockey stick in the bedroom, or a baseball bat, like where are those types of things around, just to take notice, just in case, right? Please stay away from the kitchen. If you're not an expert in cutlery, leave it alone. Look for big, blunt objects that you can swing with the best of them. Another idea around open house safety is to have signage stating that the property is under video surveillance. Now, this could be a true statement or not. It doesn't really matter. However, it's the perception that you're creating by having that signage prominently displayed to let the attendees know that there is video monitoring taking place, whether they can see it or not, and whether it actually exists or not. But it can be a psychological deterrent for someone who's looking for an easy target. Last but not least, take a look around, meet the neighbors, right? Before you start your open house, it's probably a great idea to knock on a couple doors, visit a neighbor, introduce yourself, and let them know, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to be at the Smith's house for, from when to when. This is my car right here. Just wanted to let you know I was going to be over there. Please feel free to stop by, make a friend, right? Maybe make a database addition, maybe find a new seller client, but introduce yourself, make a connection, let them get eyes on you, and enroll them as a safety partner potentially by putting them on notice, because they're going to be watching anyway. How's the crowd? How's it going? But now they're going to know if your car is there well beyond the time that you said you were going to be finished. It puts them on alert to pay attention to what's happening there. Okay, so that's a little bit about open houses. Next up, I want to talk a little bit more about technology. So there is a lot of great technology available these days around personal safety. Some things I already mentioned, right, are just basic use of the internet. There are also some apps available now that do sort of light screening reports. Technology such as Forewarn or similar do sort of lightweight screening reports and background checks that you can utilize to pre-screen prospective clients. However, again, I would just add that if you're going to use a technology like Forewarn or similar, you need to engage that technology with every person every time, no exceptions. Now, if there is an exception, it's your mother, it's your sister, it's someone that then you better take note of that in your files as you move through your transaction. But otherwise, this needs to be a very consistent business practice that you use with every person every time. In addition to that, what I'm really interested in talking about is wearable personal safety technology. So there are a lot of great products nowadays that are affordable and stylish, if you will, but please, please, please investigate wearable safety technology. The one prop that I have here to show you today is a product. This is my wife's Invisaware bracelet. Some of you may have heard of this brand, Invisaware. I am not an affiliate. I am just an advocate for a product like this. So Invisaware makes a product line of bracelets, necklaces, keychains, and the common technology around each of their pieces is this pendant. So no matter which type of product you choose from them, it has this pendant, and on the back of the pendant is a panic button in the back of the pendant. This wearable technology pairs with your phone via Bluetooth. It then can send a signal, just like your home security system, to a 24/7 monitoring service that can alert first responders, and using the GPS technology in your phone, they can find the closest responder to your location, therefore getting you help faster. And of course, in a personal assault situation, the seconds matter. 911 is not a great solution because of the time involved. The questions have to be answered. There are limitations in getting access to it in a hurry. Something like this, you can press the button, get a signal for help out, and then be able to either protect yourself, flee the scene, or do whatever you need to do at that particular moment. But please, please, please investigate wearable safety technology. NAR The National Association of Realtors has supported products like Invisaware. There's another one called Katana Safety Device. Katana, like the Japanese sword, but that is basically an attachment to your phone case cover. It would attach to the back of the phone and has a wristlet that attaches to your wrist. If the wristlet is detached from the module on the back, it will send that safety signal out, that alert for help. And so I encourage you to look into those. There are a handful of great ones out there. They're very affordable. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion, for anyone in the real estate industry and anyone in general, right? If you have children, if you exercise alone, if you walk or bike or jog, if you have elderly parents, whatever the use case is, a wearable safety technology is a no-brainer, in my opinion, because you can get help fast at the push of a button. And then finally, I just wanted to add, as we wrap up here, NAR, National Association of Realtors, of course, is very concerned with agent safety. A lot of the content that I share in my classes and even today comes from a resource at nar.realtor, which is the realtor-facing website. It used to be the old realtor.org for those of us that have been around a little while, like myself, but nar.realtor/safety has a myriad of safety resources there, trainings, recommendation on products that you can check out and research for yourself. They've compiled a great resource there. NAR.realtor in general is a great resource for us realtors, marketing information, education information, you name it. There's a lot of great content there to check out, but I highly recommend nar.realtor/safety to go back through some of these safety resources and recommendations that I've been making today. NAR also has an awareness campaign around realtor safety, so much so that we have a Realtor Safety Month, which is the month of September. So I'm excited to be doing some in-person events in September locally, and hopefully I'll have a chance to come back and talk some more around that as well with the broader EXP family. But Realtor Safety Month is in September. And I also just want to mention, finally, NAR also surveys the membership on an annual basis. They survey around safety and they ask questions like, have you ever been in an incident that made you feel uncomfortable or otherwise while you're working in your real estate business? And historically, unfortunately, the percentage of agents that respond affirmatively to that survey is about 25% on a given year. That's a really big number, right? We already all know how many realtors there are in the US alone. 25% of the membership reporting that they've had some sort of incident. It's a big deal. Good news, bad news there. One thing that I've been noticing over the recent years is that the numbers actually have trended down slightly, but that's because of the market environment that we're in. You're never really showing a house by yourself because there's a line of other agents waiting in the driveway, right? Or the open house is so busy, there's not a lot of alone time. So the numbers have trended down. However, don't let that create a sense of safety or casualness around these proactive business practices and protocols that we've talked about today. We've got to keep our guard up every day, every time, but all it requires is a little bit of thought on your part to sit down and create a list. What are my personal ground rules for engagement? What are my proactive business practices? Do I have a safety technology? Do I have safety partners? Do I have an intake process? These are all things that are easy to implement and will help keep you safe and hopefully deter any wrongdoers from approaching you as an easy target. So that's what I have today. Thank you so much again for your time. Realtor safety is an important topic, and I'm so glad to have this chance to share with you today. And hopefully you got a couple things that you've taken away and will put into practice today, not tomorrow, today. And let's stay safe out there. Thank you.
Amazing session. Thank you, Scott, so much for being on the show. That was incredibly valuable and something that I think we as a profession, we need to take seriously. I mean, if we don't advocate for our own safety, who else is going to? So I love the information. We'd love to have you back on the show anytime. Thank you so much, Scott. And viewers, my friends, we're not done yet. We've got one more thing coming up for you today. Have you ever wanted to get into video? It's in the back of your head, right? Where you're like, I know I need to be doing video right now. I know that I've needed to do video for the last 2 years, and you haven't done it yet, right? I mean, I get it. And before I hosted this show, I was feeling very similar to you. And I think one of the key points for me, and we're going to give you more in just a moment, but one of the key points for me is just get started, right? Just get started. It's not going to be perfection right away, but once you start taking action, you create that momentum, and then it's going to look better and better from there. So I'm gonna send this over to one of the experts who's going to give you some more tips on how you can get started with video today. So let's toss it over to JJ Johannes.
JJ Johannes again. So on part 2, we're going to cover on how to shoot video. So in this 3-part series, we're trying to get you started on video and get you, recording more videos and getting started in that progress. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to shoot the video. And I like to look at an acronym called KISS. I like to look at it from a keep it simple to start. So you really want to get started on video, not make this overly complex, just to get progress moving forward, because once you get shooting more video, it becomes more and more comfortable, and you'll find it easier to do that. So let's talk about a few different categories of video. So when people think about equipment, they're usually thinking about the video that they're shooting, the audio that they're using, and the lighting. And so what I want to talk about first is the video. Now, for most people, you can just use the camera you have, which is in your phone. So a lot of people might start thinking that I need to get a high-end camera. Well, you can do that, and you can spend the money to do that. But for most people, you can really keep it simple by just using the phone you have. If you have a phone that is less than 5 years old, more than likely it's something that you can use to shoot pretty high-end video, and you don't need to go out and spend more money to get a high-end camera. So don't let that be an objection to get moving forward. Now, with that phone, you are going to want to have a tripod. That is something that I think is a requirement to have steady video. That way you can put the camera up, it's mounted in place, and it isn't really moving around. There's a lot of different tripods that you can get out there. The one I use is something called Albot. There's also a mount that you'll want to get so that way you can put your camera on that tripod. I use one from LoomCube, but you get those couple components to go with your phone, and now you're going to be able to shoot steady video, and you're going to shoot high-end video with your camera. Now, the next component is lighting. So when we look at equipment, the next one is lighting. So from a lighting perspective, you can go really basic and just use the natural light. So if you're in a room and you're shooting video, have the window in front of you. You never want to have the light behind you. If you have light behind you, it's going to darken the camera. So you can just use a natural light out a window if you want. If you want to get some lights, you can use a ring light. You can use a box light. There's different lights that you can use. Now, I use a ring light from Newer. I also have a box light that I use as well. So I have a box light right off to the side here to get a little bit of definition on the light. But again, to keep it simple to start, as we talked about, one of the easiest things to do is just use the natural light, whether it's at a window, if you're inside of a home, or if you're outside, facing maybe towards the sun or a little bit off to the side. You never want to try to have that light coming directly behind you, because that's going to, again, darken the lighting. And the third component, the one that I think it's overlooked a lot, that is, to me, almost more important than the other two, is audio. So if you've watched, different TikTok or Instagram reels or Facebook videos, you'll notice when the audio doesn't sound good. So that's something I feel like a lot of people pick up more than they would pick up on video, or lighting being bad, is the audio. So there's different things that you can do with that. Again, if we're going to keep it simple, the simple thing is to use the headphones that you have, whether you have wireless headphones like AirPods, or whether you have wired headphones. Those are going to give you high-end quality audio. You can also, if you want to buy, a lavalier mic that would plug directly into your phone, that's a great option. There's a lot of different lavalier mics that you can get out there. I particularly use a Rode one, RODE. You can also use wireless microphones. So Rode and other places make wireless microphones, so that way you can move around more hands-free. So it kind of depends on the type of video you're going to do. On videos that I shoot, particularly for social media and the educational video that I use, I have a microphone that plugs into my computer, and then I can plug it directly into my phone as well. And that's a Yeti Blue mic. And so there's different mics you can use. But again, if we're keeping it simple, If you have your iPhone or Android phone and you have a tripod with a mount on it, you use the natural light and you use the headphones that you already have, you can really get started using some simple equipment there. Now, the next thing that I would mention that can be challenging when shooting videos is people can get into a struggle with trying to shoot videos and post them every day. And so one of the things that I found as a hack a few years ago that is very productive for me is I batch shoot videos. And what I mean by that is I shoot all my videos in one day and then edit those and then post those on different days. So if I'm going to shoot 2 or 3 or 5 videos that I want to post in the next week, I'm just shooting all those videos in one day. Now, if I wanted to have different settings or be in different houses, that would be one thing. But when I am shooting ideas and videos on topics, I am typically shooting all those at the same time. Sometimes I'll change outfits or change my shirt in between, but most of the time I'm just shooting all of it in one long video, and then I have my editor kind of chop that up into different videos. That way I don't have to each day think about what I'm going to shoot for a video, what I'm going to talk about, and then go and get it edited. So typically for me on Wednesdays, I'm shooting my video with all my different topics in it, and then I'm having my editor, my video editor, edit that and chop that up on Thursday and Friday, and then I have those videos to start posting on Monday through Saturday. So shooting all of them at once can also make it easier from a timing standpoint. For me to shoot my videos, it takes me about 30 minutes, and then I have all my videos shot for the next week. So that's another tip that you can use to make it a little bit easier to shoot videos. And that concludes this particular topic. And now next on part 3, we're going to talk about editing and posting those videos.